Hey, what's going on? Before we get this video started, I wanted to shout out some groups, organizations, businesses that have been very helpful, have made an impact, and have done wonderful things as entrepreneurs, as community servants, so on and so on. All of these groups can be found on Facebook, and some of them are high schoolers, some of them are college students, some of them are adults, and so on and so on. The range is wide as the sky as is, and every one of these groups I have come into contact with by the group itself, the organization, the person who created it, or I have been a patron of that person. So I wanted to shout them out through this montage. And when you go on Facebook, go on there, look at those groups, see if they tickle your fancy. You may want to buy something from them. And most of all, please, please, please support them. All of these people are black entrepreneurs, black leaders, black servants. They all help the people around them. And so I want them to have their due. I want them to have their roses and flowers while they are alive. Let them get their appreciation. So check out my montage.
Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard.
Work, on diamonds all in my ring, player. Gold watches, gold chain, player. 100,000 champagne, player. Yeah, my money insane, player. Yeah, I'm making it rain, player. But I was just on a plane, player. Buying gear, flying here. It ain't what you heard, it's my time of year. If I'm in the club, I get 100 stacks. I'm always so I get love for that. I heard he stole my swag, but I don't want it back. I was on this, but now I'm on to that. You see it in my closet, for it's on the rack. Was out there in Hawaii, now I'm going back. I got so much money, I should start a bank. So much paper right in front of me, it's hard to think. Buy so many bottles, it's gonna be hard to drink. But I'm still growing up, and my family here, and they so the bigger the bill, the harder you ball. Well, I'm throwing mine, cause my money long. The quicker you're here, the faster you go. That's why where I come from, the only thing we know is the bigger the bill, the harder you ball. Well, I'm throwing mine, cause my money long. The quicker you're here, the faster you go. That's why where I come from, the only thing we know is
Hard, play hard, work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard,
work, work. Hop your pretty and whip up in this car. Plus I'm out this world, girl, you know I'm a star. Used to buy rounds, but now we buy the bar. Last year they had to ask, now they know who we are. Boss tip, walk in the building, I own it. Can tell by who I'm on the phone with. Yeah, young and talk about grown biz. Many too busy jacking my swag. Need to mess around, get your own fit. Get your own cars, get your own clothes, get your own shit. You ain't rapping my gang, get your own click. The bigger the bill, the harder you fall.
What's going on, YouTube fans? This is Verde L. Coleman III. I'm bringing you the final episode of Season 1, Road to the Doctorate. Boy, I gotta tell you, this has been a long journey. Even though the class has been 8 weeks, I call it a long journey because it feels like I've been in this class for months. Between having to go to work and teach 110 students every day, Monday through Friday, having to do homework on my own, having to maintain my apartment, which that was incredibly difficult to do, and try to have somewhat of a normal life outside of that, I managed to stay on top. I mean, through the goodness and grace of God, which could not have done this without him. I managed to keep a 95 in the class. That is something. And anybody that's out there taking online classes and working full time, you are doing the Lord's work. Trust me. So the thing that I want to talk about today is I want to talk about how sometimes we get, I won't say beside ourselves, but we get off the path that we're supposed to be on. And mostly because we feel like that what we're doing is not worth anything. Believe it or not, this topic actually was supposed to be filmed 2 days ago. But after a conversation with a friend of mine who I did not even realize was following me on Instagram and YouTube, they gave me some perspective. Hearing other people talk about their problems and having to step in, I really have found my place in doing all of this now. I can see a clear path as to how this can benefit the people around me. So I wanted to kind of I wanted this season finale to have a big bang to it. Whew. So let's talk about keeping the hope and the faith. One of the biggest things that I've had problems with is making sure that I was consistent in my faith in working, college, everything. That was one of the biggest problems that I've had. My faith was up and down when it came to my own life. Now, when it came to other people, oh yeah, I could tell them all day, man, you can do this. You got this. I know who you are, man. But where was the faith at in myself? A lot of people don't ask that question. But it was a hard question for me to ask because I neglect myself so much. And neglect does not always mean, not taking care of yourself or, having good hygiene and whatnot. Sometimes neglecting yourself happens the worst in here. You let yourself hear the words, I can't do this. You can't do this. You're not good enough to do this. No one chose you for this because they didn't want you on their team, or nobody wanted you to do this, or they left you out on purpose. They say all these things, whether it be out loud or in your head, and you'll find yourself believing it half the time. And I can't lie. I've let it happen to me for years. Almost 20 years of my life. I've let people get in my head to basically mess with it. And those words, they'll sit there. But I go back and I think about what happens about weapons. The good book does say weapons will be formed, but they will not prosper. The key word is will be formed. They're not going to stop coming. As long as I'm living on this life, I'm going to have doubts. I'm going to have times where I think what I'm doing is in vain. But as long as I can remember that they won't prosper, then I got a fighting chance. All I have to do is just survive. Live my life, continue to do the good that I do. Now, it's easy to say that now, but in situations where I have been in as very recently as last week, I have found myself questioning, am I doing the right thing? Over and over and over again, I question myself, am I doing the right thing? And I used to think questioning your calling was a sin, but it's not. It's no sin in questioning your calling, because you want to make sure that you as an individual are not doing any work in vain. You want to make sure that when you're doing what you're called to do, you want to make sure that it's Him that's calling you. You want to make sure that this is the place that you need to be at. You want to make sure that when you're doing this, you're going to be able to make the biggest impact, no matter if it's saving the world or saving one child. That's the thing that we as educators, civilians, and other people in the world, we all have that common goal. We want to make an impact in the calling that we have. And I'll be honest, those that know my story, they know it's a rough one. But for the sake of this video, I'll give you just a short bit of it. All my life, I've grown up with two types of people. Those that called me professor because they thought it was just funny, or they wanted to pick at me for being a nerd. And then those that called me professor because they truly believed in me. They believed in the calling that I had on my life. And here I am in the middle. I hated school. I hated school for a long time. I grew up with classmates that were just absolutely cruel. Not all of them were cruel. I mean, some of them that I've talked to now, they were probably the ones that were nice to me. But for the most part, a lot of them were cruel, man. And I wouldn't wish the life that I had on anybody. I made good grades, had a great mom, had a great life at home. But school was a whole different ball game. I hated it. So naturally, I would think me being a teacher, a professor, an educator, I would think that would be utter bull. And in fact, I told everybody in my family, I told all my friends, I told my administrators, I told them, I said, no, there's no way in the world that I would ever be a teacher. And God called me long time ago to be a teacher. He called me, literally, made this clear that I was supposed to be a teacher. But I told him, I said, God, you have to be crazy. I'm not gonna be a teacher. No way. So years later, after all of my career exploits and opportunities fell through the ground, I find myself going to West Alabama. In the first 2 years, I didn't want to be there. I did not want to be there at all. And I acted like I did, though. I mean, I made friends. I learned how to be more human, I guess you can say, while being there. Learned how to be more compassionate towards other people. I learned how to be open-minded about things, but I still did not want to be there. I didn't want to experience my calling. I didn't want to be trained in my calling. So my junior year of college, I had a come to Jesus meeting. The Holy Spirit made it clear that I had a choice to make. And that day, I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get it together. I'm going to go ahead and give this teaching thing a try. And I'm glad I did. Yes, I have had many mountains of problems since then. More than I can ever count. But at the end of the day, I'm still glad I did it. Because had I not had the amount of faith that I had in God back then, I would have been working probably at a Dollar General somewhere. I probably would have been working at one of these other stores. I probably would have even had a better job than that. But I wouldn't have been happy or fulfilled or accomplished as I am now. As of this video, I am in my 5th year of teaching. I have done 6 years of school, which included my bachelor's and my master's in English. I work with people who, some of them understand the true calling of teaching, some of them don't. But the ones that watch this video, they'll know the who. I work under a great administrator. He's a good man. The assistant principal, great woman. Both of them have taught me a lot since their tenures together at Wilcox Central. And having them around has made me a better teacher, a better person. And I believe that their training is leading me to something bigger. Have I always been stuck to that conviction? No. I've had my troubles, even in teaching, because of the people that I have to deal with. So I look at now everything that I've been through, all the times where I could have gave up. I'm still here. God has a reason for me to be here. And there is no possible way that I can stop now. So I know you're probably thinking, why am I saying all of this to y'all? Somewhere out there, behind this screen, somebody out there is contemplating quitting their job. Somebody out there is contemplating quitting school. Somebody out there is contemplating calling it quits, period. We've all been there in some form or fashion, calling it quits about something. For those of y'all that are in high school and you're thinking about dropping out, don't. I've been there. Not about the dropping out part, but I've been where you are about school being just absolutely unbearable. I've been there. For those of y'all that are in college, that desired to be in college, and you still want that degree, you still want to be able to, have something that shows your worth. Keep going. Don't stop. There's no reason for you to stop once you've got on this journey. The midterms, the finals, the papers, the clinicals, the internships, the regular classes, online students, all of this is leading to a bigger purpose in your life. You have no reason to quit. For those of you that are in the military, I understand partly that you may want to call it quit sometimes, but think about the people that you're protecting. Think about the families that you have, those that you've created, those that you grew up with. You have a purpose, and they are waiting for you to achieve that purpose so that they can say, I am a proud military mom, proud military father, military brother, military sister, military son, so on and so on. Even those of you that are working in a trade field, I know you guys get left out a lot, but I'm here to tell you now, you guys make the world go round. Where will we be without our electricians, our plumbers, our welders, our brick masons, CNAs? Where will we be without you guys? Everybody has a purpose here. When you have a goal, when you have a calling on your life, yes, you're going to have some doubts. You're going to have some experiences that are going to test your faith. I have not been perfect at this. I have lost more times than I should have. But thank God He's a graceful and merciful Father, because He knew that I had a purpose. And He gave me exactly what I need to keep going. Most of all, for those of you out there, think about the people that look up to you. Think about the possibility that someone could be looking up to you. I have never had so many people, young, near my age, I've never had so many people tell me that they look up to me. That was a foreign language to me back in the day. I didn't have anybody to look up to me back then. I had very few people to look up to. So how is it that now, almost 30 years old, I have more people that look up to me than I can count? And I'm humbled by this, because I don't see myself as a person beyond reproach. I see people that are looked up to. They have this elevation about them, and then I think about myself, and I'm like, why am I a person that they're looking up to? And if you were to ask the people, they would all give you different answers. But I'm happy to say, I'm glad someone looks up to me. I'm so glad. So keep fighting. Keep going. It is all worth it. So, with that being said, as I close out this season finale, I want to introduce the new opening for season 2. So, get ready, because here it comes.
Fly, I got 6 jobs, I don't get tired. I don't get tired.
So did you guys like that? That's what you're going to be looking at from now on as far as the opening. I have yet to start working on the closing, but I got time. I have a lot of time because the first episode of season 2 of Road to the Doctorate will drop March 13th. It will drop March 13th. I have yet to decide what time. You know, when it goes up, it goes up. But in the meantime, I want you to think of some topics. Think of some things that you would want me to talk about. Not just in the field of education, but just in the field of working, just the field of life. I want you guys to really talk to me. And most of all, I want you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I want you guys to spread this to everywhere that you can. Give the people an opportunity to see that there's somebody out there that understands them. Somebody who's a common man who understands their problems. That being said, this has been another Silvertongue production. Road to the Doctorate Season 2 coming out March 13th. In the meantime, be blessed. Peace.